Hi everyone, my name is Damali and welcome back to my channel. In today's lesson, I'm going to be talking about Kanban. So before we deep dive into Kanban, let's understand why this Kanban approaches came all about. And to be able to understand that, we have the queue problem. So the queue problem arises when work items has to be in line or has to be in a queue to be processed. So imagine you go into the grocery store or bank, or even if you have to go watch your favorite soccer game and you have to buy the ticket, and if there's only one cashier, then you have to be in a queue and it's going to be first come first serve base before you can get your ticket or before you can pay in your grocery store or the bank. In order for us to minimize this queue problem, because it's not fun being in a queue, and we all know that time is money, as we always say, and time is very important, so we don't want to be in queue for too long. So that's where the Kanban approaches arises. So but before we deep dive into Kanban, let's also talk about the pull system. So what is the pull system? The pull system is when we have to pull items to be worked on. But so let's take it for example. This is a Kanban board. We have our to-do column and we have an in progress, review, and done. And let's say for our to-do list, we will have, let's say, defect 1, defect 2, defect 3, 4, 5 to be fixed. And in order for us to work on these defects, we have to ask ourselves, which defects do we have to fix first? And that's when we have to use the Kanban approach to be able to manage the flow and make sure we know which defect we have to work on. And those defects is going to be in a queue to be processed or to be worked on. So in progress means we started working on it, and then once we're done working on it, let's say this is going to be an iOS developer working on this defect, and once this defect is done, we will move it into the review column to be reviewed, and it could be reviewed by the product owner to make sure he or she is what has been worked on is approved by the product owner. And then once it's done, we can move it to the done column. But in order for us to prioritize this, that's when we have to make sure we use the pull system. So Kanban is all about a pull system, making sure this PO is pulling work from the in progress to be worked on, and also the iOS developer here is pulling work items based on the prioritization. So number 1, he will pull work item 1, pull work item 2, 3, and 4 to be worked on. And that's how the Kanban approach or the pull system arises. And we're trying to avoid the push system where managers or colleagues keeps pushing works to people to do, rather than allowing developers or allowing individuals to pull their work to be worked on by themselves. So when do we use Kanban? So normally we will use Kanban. Let's take WhatsApp, or let's take any maintenance and support type of work, and then we have to prioritize working on defects, fixing bugs. Then we can use the Kanban approach to be able to work on those projects. But now let's talk about the Kanban system and then the Kanban method. So the Kanban system is just a visual signal or card. So it's more about visualization, as we have all here to do, in progress, review, done, to be able to visualize this. And then the Kanban method is a philosophy which comprises 4 principles that we're gonna talk about here. The 4 principles of Kanban. Principle number 1, start with what you do now. And this principle is basically telling us that every procedure we have in place in our organization or procedures, let's start with those. And also let's stop starting and start finishing, meaning that we have to focus on not multitasking and try to get our whatever we're working on, let's finish first before we can actually start working on another defect or another task or issue that arises. And then principle number 2, agree to continuously improve. Kanban is all about continuous improvement. We want to always try to go on workshop, trying to learn new ways to be able to getting certified, making sure we're learning new approaches to be able to maximize efficiency and deliver quality working software. And then number 3 is respect current process rules and responsibility and positions. We want to be able to respect any procedures, any governance in place, any policies that a company came about. We want to be able to respect that, and also respect our individuals and responsibilities as well. And we want to encourage leadership behavior from everybody. Kanban approaches encourage team members to be able to empower each other, and leaders or managers or program managers to be able to make sure they empower individuals to produce the best of themselves. And then we have 6 key practices of Kanban. Number 1 is going to be visualization. So Kanban is all about visualization, where I've also already talked about. And as you can see, we want to be able to visualize our work. We have to do, in progress, review, and done. And this creates alignment and also creates visibility as well. And number 2 is limit work in progress, or WIP limit. So we always want to increase we will always want to incorporate limiting work in progress. And what does limit work in progress means? Let me explain that to you guys. So for example, now that we have to do here and done, this column, we don't need to put a WIP limit here. And the done column also, we don't need to put a WIP limit here. WIP limit is just referring to amount of work that we can work at a particular time. So, or at a particular workflow or stage. So in progress stage, if we put the work limit here to be 4, that means we can only work on 4 tasks here at a go. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if we put a work limit here 3, then it means we can only take 3 work items to be worked on here. And here, as I said, we don't need a WIP limit here. So this is all about WIP limit. And why do we have WIP limit in place? It helps developers to focus on finishing one item first before pulling another one in, and then we can have priority as well. So let's say this is done, we can move this here, then this become 3, then we can pull one here, and this issue will come all the way here, and it will become 4. And then if this is also done, we can keep doing it that way. And there's always an exception to the rule. What is the exception to this rule? The exception to this rule is when, let's say, for example, we have this queue for these individuals to go into the grocery store or the bank to pay. Now, let's assume this individual is a senior. Since this individual is a senior, with respect, I believe these people here will allow this senior to go and pay to the bank, because we all know this senior can be standing for so long. So that will be an exception for the rule. And in software development as well, there will be an exception for this rule, where maybe there will be a critical bug that we need to fix. If we don't fix that bug as soon as possible, the company or the organization is going to be losing a lot of money. Then we will have to prioritize. So let's say bug number let's say this bug number 3 is a critical type of bug. Since this is a critical type of bug, we will have to bring this in as soon as possible. And once we bring this in as soon as possible into the in progress to be worked on, we have to make sure we take another task here of the same capacity and put it back into, of a low priority, and put it back into the to-do list. And so that's how we can be able to go about when we have such exception. So rule number 3 is flow management. We want to be able to make sure we're managing our flow, and to be able to do that, we can use our Jira board, Agile DevOps to be able to manage the flow. Or if you don't have that, you can pretty much use the normal sticky boards and to do in progress, review, and put your sticky notes here to be able to do that. And then we have explicit policies. So explicit policies, this means that every governance rules that we have to share it with the individual and make it explicit as well. And then we have feedback loops. We always want to make sure, as I said, Kanban is all about continuous improvement. So we want to have some feedback loop in place, and it could be a daily meetings where teams comes together, like the daily stand up, to be able to get some feedback or it could be monthly, bi-weekly, retrospective that you perform to be able to get some feedback loops as well. And the last one is collaborative improvement. We want to always make sure in the Kanban 6 key practices, collaborative improvement is very necessary to be able to collaborate as a team and avoid working in silos. And so Kanban practices encourages this. And pretty much that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about Kanban today. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like and subscribe. And if you need any help in transforming your organization, go into the description below, and then my website is there and you can reach out to us. Thank you for watching once again.